Welcome back into college football now. I am Tom Downey. We are breaking down all of the bowl games this year, plus the college football playoff matchups, now that we know at least the first round games, as we'll discuss all the different postseason matchups here, well over 40 of them in total this year. And of note, we will be live for every single college football playoff game. Variety of hosts, but every single CFP game will have live coverage here with our patented watch parties on Chat Sports. So hit that sub button if you haven't already done so. As we broke down live here earlier on Sunday, December 7th, the CFP bracket is out. Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech are the top 4 seeds in that order. They all get a bye, which means Oklahoma hosts number 9 Alabama. That's going to be done Friday, December 19th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, ABC/ESPN. That is the first of the 4 college football playoff games. Miami going on the road to number 7 Texas A&M. That's going to be out in Kyle Field, College Station, noon, Saturday, December 20th. That is also an ABC ESPN game. The other 2 CFP games featuring the G5 teams are going to be on TNT. Tulane visiting Ole Miss again at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on that Saturday, December 20th. Then James Madison visiting Oregon for the final CFP matchup on that front, at least the first round. Oklahoma, Alabama winner gets Indiana. Oregon, James Madison winner gets Texas Tech. A&M, Miami winner gets Ohio State. Ole Miss, Tulane winner gets Georgia. So that is your college football playoff bracket. Who will win the college football playoff this year? The favorite is Ohio State, but they also lost to Indiana. I think there's 4, maybe 5 teams that have really true aspirations this year. Who will win the CFP? Let me know in the comment section, the pinned comment actually, of today's show, and we'll run through all of the regular bowl games next. Let's go in order of when they get played. First up, the LA Bowl will feature Boise State and Washington. That's a fun way to begin bowl season. Of note, you'll see the date, the time, and the locations and the channel for all of these bowl games. Boise State and Washington to begin things here. The Salute to Veterans Bowl features Jacksonville State and Troy. That is a late night game on Tuesday, December 16th. Why it's so late, I couldn't tell you, but hey, it gives me something to do while my child is awake. He is 2.5 months old. It's fine. Cure Bowl, December 17th. We get South Florida and Old Dominion. So a bit of a local game-ish for South Florida, which is always good for the smaller bowls to, get people to show up. The 68 Ventures Bowl is Louisiana and Delaware. How about the Blue Hens? Welcome to the bowl party, my friends. That game going to be set for 8:30 p.m. on that Wednesday. Thursday, December 18th, we get the Xbox Bowl. Yes, the Xbox Bowl. Kind of actually a late addition to the bowl game calendar, which, given the opt-outs, turns out we didn't need because 3 teams ended up opting out and was kind of nonsense on that front. Arkansas State and Missouri State, another game down in Frisco. There are several bowl games down there this year. So non-football, let's have some fun though. Pick your console war. X for Xbox, P for PlayStation. I've been a PS5 guy. I've had both, but I've been a PS5 guy for N4 and 3 for a while. Who are you picking in the console wars? X for Xbox, P for PlayStation. Moving along now to the stuff you guys actually care about. Kennesaw State and Western Michigan in this one, December 19th. That's an 11 a.m. kick out in Brooks Stadium in Conway, South Carolina. Another G5 matchup. The Gasparilla Bowl, NC State versus Memphis. That's going to be in Raymond James Stadium where the Bucks play. 2:30 p.m. Eastern on that Friday. No bowl games Saturday or Sunday because the NFL dominates. Next one is Monday, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Western Michigan and Utah State playing in Boise, Idaho. A 2 p.m. kick. I also, again, question why we have a 2 p.m. game and no late night game for a bowl game. Whatever. Give us something to not do or to watch instead of working. Boca Raton Bowl out in Boca Raton. Louisville and Toledo in this one, which is a very interesting matchup. Jeff Brom sticking around. Toledo losing Jason Candle to UConn, which we'll get to them later on. The New Orleans Bowl, a classic day of Christmas Eve bowl game at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time this time around, though, out at the Superdome in New Orleans, Western Kentucky and Southern Miss. And then a 9 p.m. kick out in Frisco. It's the Frisco Bowl. UNLV against Ohio as the sickos only G5 bowl games continue, but I think it's more fun. And then one of my favorite personal holiday traditions is, I was going to say something the kids might not appreciate. California against Hawaii, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Christmas Eve. There's just something right about watching, ideally Hawaii, play in the Hawaii Bowl. Cal is playing this year. That is a pristine matchup. JKS sticking around. I will be seated for this game because I can't not do it. I love watching the Hawaii Bowl on Christmas Eve. I hope college football never loses traditions like that. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It is the holiday season, the best time of the year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right, and that is Prize Picks. And they'll offer early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. You can do it for basketball games. You can do it for all of these different bowl games. Have some fun along the way. It is simple to play. You pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. Get those picks right, and you could cash in. It is now available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. The game above, Sports Bowl, I think I have to pronounce it that way on purpose there. Out Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan, Northwestern and Central Michigan, which might actually get some decent commute for that game. That is the game above Sports Bowl. Next up on the bowl game calendar, the Raton Bowl. This is also being played the day after Christmas. New Mexico against Minnesota out at Chase Field, Phoenix, Arizona, which is always super fun and entertaining on that front. New Mexico, Minnesota in that one. The First Responders Bowl, 8 p.m. Eastern, again, also on the day after Christmas. UTSA versus Florida International, another bowl game in Dallas, Texas. It's your Gerald J. Ford Stadium, though. UTSA, FIU. The Military Bowl, Pitt against East Carolina out at Annapolis, Maryland. That is also, by the way, an 11 a.m. kick time. 11 a.m. on ESPN. And then at noon on ABC, it is the Pinstripe Bowl between Clemson and Penn State. This is the disappointing season bowl. Let's just call it what it is. Neither team really remotely living up to expectations in the end. So Clemson and Penn State get a chance to at least end the season with a slightly better taste in their mouth. The Fenway Bowl, played at Fenway Park. I love that UConn is playing in this game. That just feels right to me given how successful they've been before they lost Jim Mora. But UConn and Army facing off in that one. Continuing along here, the Saturday full of college football games. Don't bother me, family. Georgia Tech and BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. What is noteworthy here is this was not supposed to be Georgia Tech in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. This was a change in the process thanks to Notre Dame. This was supposed to be the best non-CFP bowl game, Notre Dame and BYU. But Notre Dame was so bothered by the fact that they got left out of the college football playoff, they have chosen to skip the bowl games altogether, a move that I do not respect at all. And I feel bad for any senior who wanted to play one more game. I feel bad. And I want to watch good teams play and play the young guys. I don't want to lose my bowl games and make it all about the college football playoff. Have some fun and watch the games. Should Notre Dame have opted out? Also opting out Iowa State, Kansas State, in part because of coaching changes, but I don't like it. You know, players want to opt out, okay. Entire teams, stop it. I disagree with this decision massively. You guys can vote, though, Y for yes and for no. In what is technically the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, by the way, Miami, Ohio versus Fresno State. So it is a different than expected matchup there. This is, by the way, on the CW. This is a CW bowl game. which is the only one that they get there. Miami of Ohio against Fresno State in that one. That's my alma mater. I will not be going to that game. All right, in the New Mexico Bowl, North Texas versus San Diego State. We played in New Mexico. Go figure, right? That is a 5:45 p.m. Eastern kick. By the way, all these games, again, are on Saturday, December 27th, because there is just all of the bowl games get plugged into this weekend, or that day. It's going to be awesome. The Gator Bowl. This is Virginia against Missouri out in Jacksonville, Florida. But the Gator Bowl was like the one that got kind of left behind in the CFP expansion. But maybe, if we expand to 16, maybe we can get it back. I don't know. We'll see. The Texas Bowl features a Texas team in Houston playing at NRG Stadium in Houston against LSU, which might actually have some really good attendance in that one, the Texas Bowl. On December 29th, 2 p.m., Georgia Southern against, as of filming, we don't know. Really weird scenario here because of all the opt-outs led by Notre Dame, Kansas State, Iowa State as well. A bunch of 5 and 7 teams, including but not limited to Rutgers, Baylor, Florida State, Auburn. They've all said no to playing in the bowl game. So as of filming, we don't know who Georgia Southern will play. They're still trying to find an opponent. At some point they will, and we'll update it for you guys in the copy and in the description. But Birmingham Bowl is Georgia Southern against? We'll see. December 30th, on Tuesday, we have Louisiana Tech against Coastal Carolina. That's going to be in Shreveport, Louisiana. So a bit of a local game there for Louisiana Tech. And then it's the All-Orange Bowl, also on December 30th, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, December 30th. Music City Bowl, Tennessee and Illinois, different shades of orange. Winner gets to be the best orange team this year. I don't know. Texas has some very good dispute on that, but it's funnier to say it that way. That's in Nashville, so could have some decent attendance too. The Alamo Bowl, TCU against USC. That is a late night game, a 9 p.m. Eastern Time kick, by the way. The ReliaQuest Bowl on New Year's Eve, noon Eastern Time kick. Vanderbilt against Iowa out at Raymond James Stadium. I think could be a decent one. I'm a bit disappointed it wasn't a better matchup for Vanderbilt, but sometimes you can't always get what you want in the end. Now, I love the bowl games. I want more bowl games. It's fun. It gives me something to watch that I care about. Are there too many bowl games, though? This is a common question I see. 1 for yes, 0 for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. How about the Sun Bowl? This one on CBS, by the way, on New Year's Eve, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Duke against Arizona State will be the matchup in this one. Two teams that maybe met but also didn't meet expectations necessarily. Arizona State didn't have the Big 12 year they wanted, but they kind of finished decently well. And Duke is your ACC champion, by the way. The Citrus Bowl, I think kind of a good matchup. Texas against Michigan. It at least has some good brands involved in this matchup. I've seen Michigan beat an SEC team that got left out of the college football playoff before. Can they do it again? We shall see. You get to see Arch Manning, Bryce Underwood. Also pretty intriguing. The Las Vegas Bowl, Nebraska and Utah, making not that far of a trip for them. Curious what the quarterback play looks like for Nebraska, but they got a win for both these teams to kind of like make them feel better about this year and kind of set up next season for more success. All right, January 2nd, because the first is bucketed with all the CFP games. The Armed Forces Bowl, Rice and Texas State. So not massive trips for either team necessarily, as they'll play out in Fort Worth. The Liberty Bowl on January 2nd, Cincinnati and Navy. So not the longest trip for Bearcat fans either, by the way. That one going to be in Memphis, Tennessee. 2 more left. The Duke's Mayo Bowl. That is Mississippi State against Wake Forest. I will watch if only to see who gets the mayo dumped on them. That's going to be played in Charlotte, North Carolina, so not that far for Wake Forest. And then finally, the Holiday Bowl. Feels right to feature a Pac-12 team, or at least an old Pac-12 team. SMU against Arizona to wrap up the bowl season, not including, of course, the CFP quarterfinals and semifinals that we'll have those live here on the channel, so make sure you are subscribed.